All right, to make our lemon mead, we are going to be using the following ingredients. We're going to be using about 5 or 6 lemons. Yeah, I've got 5 here, but we're only going to juice 2 of the lemons, and we're going to zest all 5. We're going to be using 3 pounds of raw clover honey. Because of the acidity, I'm going to be using Red Star Premier Blanc wine yeast because it's nice and strong and seems to have worked so far with most of my wines and meads. I'm going to be using a handful of raisins. We're going to use about 3 quarts of water. We need something to do primary fermentation in, whether it's going to be a jug, jar, demi-john, or carboy. We're going to need an airlock with stopper. We're going to need something to do secondary fermentation in, because after about a week or so of primary fermentation, we're going to transfer this for the long haul into secondary fermentation, and then every 6 or 8 weeks we'll do subsequent rackings into additional carboys. We need a hydrometer, and of course everything has been sanitized using Star Sans. Now the first thing we need to do is that we need to zest all of these lemons. Now you can use the zesting implement of choice in order to get the process done. I'm going to start out by using a knife. I'm just letting you know that there's going to be a fadeaway, and when I come back, all of these lemons are going to be zested. I'm not going to say which method I used. I'm just simply saying I'm going to start with the knife. Now when zesting your lemons, you want to try and make sure that you get only the yellow zest, and try not to get, in fact, let me do one real quick, and try not to, oh great, when I grabbed this, when it worked out okay. You want to try and leave as much of this white pith behind as possible. I mean, it's not going to kill you if you mess up and you incorporate some of the pith. I mean, little bits like that, that's like no big deal, so don't sweat it. But again, you just want to zest all of your lemons so that you can move on to the next step. So let me go ahead and get this started, and I'll be right back. Okay, the zesting is done. And as much as I would like to put this lemon zest into straining bags and use a wide mouth fermenter to be able to put everything into, my wide mouth fermenter is currently in use with some dark cherry mead that I made my last video. So I'm going to have to use a carboy, jug, demi-john, and everything is going to have to go through that hole there. Well, now if the zesting is done, I've taken the opportunity to go ahead and warm up our water and put our honey in some hot water so I can go ahead and warm those up before putting those into the carboy. Now, this is what I've got. And I think what I'm going to do, instead of using only 2 lemons, I think I'm going to use 3. I'm a lemon lover. I want to be able to taste that lemon flavor come really through the mead. So what I want to do now is go ahead and put our honey in. Now I've already pre-loosened the lift and peel caps. On one, I just took it off completely because these things have a tendency not to work properly. And I find that when I'm doing these videos that spending a whole lot of time trying to peel the doggone things off can be just an issue. So we're going to go ahead and pour in our honey. If I can get this a little closer. And the same with that one shortly. I'm going to add in some of our water. I'm not going to fill it up completely, just get enough in there so I can actually dissolve our honey in the water. Again, this water was warmed up. We're in about halfway. And I want to put the cap back on. Tightly. And I want to just give this a shake. Which is a fairly quick process since everything's already kind of warmed up. Give it an extra good shake. All right. Go ahead and take my cap off. Now the next thing I want to do is, should it be the lemons, the lemon peel, or the raisins? I think I'm going to start with the lemons. Now again, you can use as many lemons as you actually like. Move this back a bit, so over to the side, over to the side, as you like. You can use them all if you want, but I'm going to start with 3 lemons this time around. Move my lemons up. All right, now your remaining lemons, you can go ahead if you want. You can freeze those until you're ready to use those for something else in cooking, which is what I'm going to do. And as far as these that I've just juiced are concerned, I'm going to go ahead and add that to our carboy. Let me grab a strainer first. Now I want to go ahead and add our lemon zest. Now again, I really wish my fermenter was available, but since it's not, and for those of you who might not have a wide mouth fermenter, this is what you'll end up doing. My hands have been cleaned, and I did make use of a little bit of star sands. I mean, some of the pieces are about yay long, and what I really want to do is try and break those up, at least to make them a little smaller, not to make them easier to get into the cardboard, but after primary fermentation is done, I've got to get these things out of the carboy, which is why, again, I prefer using a wide mouth fermenter. But if you don't have one available, you just don't have one available. All right, take a handful of our raisins. And we're not talking much, we're just talking about small handful. And I could either just chuck them in the fermenter now, or I'm just going to give these just a real quick rough chop. And I'm not trying to mince them up or anything. Just kind of break them up a little bit. And then go ahead and add those to our fermenter. Well, it does help if you can get them actually in the fermenter, but okay. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put the cap back on. Just give it a quick little shake, and B, I'm going to pour off just a little bit to a small bowl. Put it so you can see it. Pour it off into a small bowl. And the reason for that, since it is still a little bit warm, I want to go ahead and begin the process of blooming our yeast. I'm going to use a quarter of a teaspoon. And just give it a light little stir. Start the process of hydrating that yeast. And we're going to let that bloom for a few minutes. And while we're waiting for it to do that, we might just as well put that aside. And let's start adding in some of the rest of our water. And let's take a hydrometer reading. Actually, before we do that, let's make sure we get a fairly accurate reading. Except that little water we just put in. And let's just get a little bit of our soon-to-be musk to be. All right, it's riding pretty high. We are going to have a reading of, and the hydrometer numbers are coming in at 1.110. Looks like our yeast is just about ready, so we are going to give our sweetened lemon juice one more good shake. Try and get in that last little bit of oxygen. Helped out the yeast a little bit. We are then going to add our yeast back into the mixture. All right, I've added water up to the levels. Fits in there pretty good. One of the last things we need to do is that we need to label our creation. In this particular case, lemon mead, that we started on whatever date you want to start yours on. And it's always helpful to put your original starting gravity so you have an idea of just how much ABV your creation will come in at towards the end. Now all we need to do is every day for the next 3 to 5 days or so, go ahead and give it a good stir or a shake to incorporate a little bit of additional oxygen and to break up this mat of lemon zest that we've got growing on top, and transfer it into secondary and let it do fermentation for the long haul. Let's see, other things. Take off my glasses here. It came in at, after 12 months, it came in at a relatively high 15.75% ABV. That's something else that I'm also going to correct in my use of meads going forward, and that is the choice of yeast that I've been using. Normally when I'm not too sure about a particular mead and I don't want to take a chance, I'll break out a packet of Red Star Premier Blanc, and knowing full well that that's going to just power through virtually anything, and I'm going to end up with a product, bottle of wine, bottle of mead, that I can actually drink later on. It's going to ferment through fruition. Because this channel doesn't use yeast energizers or yeast nutrients or anything like that, Yeah, the choice of the Premier Blanc was basically a safe choice, but I'm now going to start using yeast that have a lower alcoholic tolerance, so I can bring down the ABV levels quite a bit. Back when I was first starting to make wines and meads, 15.75%, yeah. These days, I prefer something with somewhat less alcoholic content. Not because I'm trying to get away from alcohol. It's by virtue of the fact that you're losing a lot of the flavor of the actual wine and meads because of the high alcohol. High ABVs is not really the way to go, usually. But let's get right down to this particular video. All right, let's see. Go ahead and try and get this cork open in one piece this time. And if you've seen some of my recent wine tasting videos, you've seen that I've had issues with these corks. So much so that I'm probably, again, and I've said it before, I'll probably switch over to artificial corks just to avoid any potential problems that might arise. Usually this part works okay. It's that final little part. Success. It's all in one piece this time. Okay. Wow, even from back here, that lemon aroma kind of kicked in. Kind of curious to see how this one's going to taste. Lemon, then honey, then alcohol are the first three things that I smell, pretty much in that order. Subsequent sniffs, it's more along the lines of alcohol than honey and lemon. Okay. It's sweet. Not dessert wine type sweet, but it's sweet. I back sweetened it well. No great loss in terms of sweetness with that layer of honey solids on the bottom. So that turned out okay. Trying to think of what needs to be changed in this. And the amount of lemons that were used in the original recipe, that was fine. The amount of honey, that turned out okay. The back sweetening with the amount of honey that I used, that turned out okay. Well, almost okay. So I'll resolve that settlement issue later on. But tone down the alcohol content by a bit. And I think everything else about this wine, mead rather, turned out okay. Even though it is a sweet wine, mead, it does retain that level of tartness that you would get from a lemon. That's still in there. Even though it's been aged 12 months now since its inception, I would probably give this another few months because I would give this another few months. For my own personal taste, I would probably say this is more of a 16-month endeavor, if not more. I mean, this is perfectly drinkable. I mean, I actually like this one. It's fairly smooth going down. It's smooth going down, then at the back end, it has I guess the word I want to use, it has a level of astringency at the back end. I'll have to take a look at the original recipe to see if I used the tannin substitute, aka black tea, in this wine. If I did, I would probably adjust that down a bit. Yeah, I would probably adjust the tannin level a bit, but I'm not seeing anything wrong with this at all. I've seen some videos where people just don't plain like it, but I don't know, maybe I just don't have a sophisticated palate, but I'm not having any problems with this one at all. Yeah, I like it. I'd probably like it better if it were chilled, which is probably what I'm going to have when I have this for dinner. I'll just put it in the refrigerator. But no, I'm not really seeing anything wrong with this. Slight adjustments to the recipe. Reduce the level of tannin. Change the wine yeast out to something with a lower ABV tolerance or lower alcohol tolerance. Make the correction in terms of how I back sweeten it. Rephrase that. Back sweetening it was fine. Changing the method of pasteurization would probably be the way I'd go for this particular batch of wine. So yeah, I'll go ahead and make the changes in the original video. You can find the changes in the description section. Underneath the video, you'll see the changes where I've made the changes, because I'll usually put those in parentheses with the modified and then the date that I made the modification in the ingredients. And that's pretty much the way it is with all of my videos. After I've done a tasting, the 12-month tasting, I'll go back to the original video and make the changes if necessary, so that you can find the changes there. So there we go. The lemon mead 12-month tasting. As far as I'm concerned, yeah, I like this. I like it. Yeah, I will be making this one again. Probably another 1-gallon batch next time, just to make sure that the changes that I've made have worked out. But yeah, I can see making multiple gallons of this at a given point in time later on. So there we go. Short video, lemon mead. Hope you enjoyed it. And by the way, if you did enjoy this video, please click on the subscribe and notify buttons. And better yet, become a member. You can find links to everything that I've used with the making of this wine in the description section below. Amazon links, by the way. And there we go, lemon mead. I'll see you in the next video.